I think there are things happening in our country where you can really just you can see um, how this could be our reality, and it's scary to think about. It's eye-opening.
Do you think the day will come when the Bible will be against the law? Well, my guest Drew Varvel co-stars with his brother actor Brett Varvel in the film Disciples in the Moonlight. The storyline is where a reluctant leader leads a team of seven Christians that smuggle Bibles to underground churches in a future America where the Bible is illegal and danger is everywhere. You and your brother, so excited about this great movie, Disciples in the Moonlight. And so, how real was it for you?
This film has been with us for about 10 years. And so I was involved back in the early days of when the idea was first even brought up by our friend Josh, who is the writer and one of the actors. And so he kind of proposed this idea, imagine someone running for their life in a cornfield under a pale moonlight, and they're clutching a Bible at their chest. And we're like, wow. Like, so it immediately brought this idea of, you know, um, Christian persecution in the States. And so, what would that look like in like really look like? You hear about it all over the world because it's happening now, but like what would it look like if it was happening to us here? And so we set out to create this kind of conceptual teaser trailer. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was in the middle of the night into the wee hours in the morning. It was single digits in temperature. We were out at this barn with zero budget, just one camera and one light, and we just created this scene. And so I remember that phase. But then the Lord just kind of told us to wait. We were trying to make this movie happen. It seemed like there wasn't an audience for it. It seems like there weren't really people interested in investing in it. But having been through the entire process, the filming of it and the post-production and even our premiere that we just had and seeing people's reactions to it, it's really surreal. And it does answer that question. I think the Lord wanted us to wait to make this movie for such a time as this, because you can really just I think people are more accepting of it, the idea of this kind of movie and this kind of story now than ever before. And so what I'm looking forward to the most is just to see how people are going to respond,
Mm.
walking out of the theaters.
Oh my gosh, the trailer was giving me chills. Literally, the trailer was making me cry. I am not
Oh,
kidding.
that's so
The
sweet.
Holy Spirit inside of me just was I was chills, crying. I'm like, this is such a thing that we really need to know and hear about. And I'm so glad that, you were so a big part of this movie. And so do you think that this could happen sooner than later?
I definitely think this could happen as early as tomorrow. And I think there are things happening in our country where you can really just you can see um, how this could be our reality, and it's scary to think about. It's eye-opening, and that's why I think it's going to have. I believe it will have a big impact. Ultimately, it is. We made this movie for the Lord, and He's going to do with it what He wants, and He's going to spread His message through it. And so. Yeah, I do think it has that believability. That is one of the things I've heard most about it from people, from audiences, is that it feels so real, like it feels so believable and not far-fetched at all. And so
Yeah.
I mean, while we take that as a compliment, it's also kind of a, you know, kind of reality shaking kind of encounter that you have when you realize that, oh, what would I do if I was in this situation?
Yeah, and there's such dangers, so when you were making this movie, how did you feel about the dangers that you faced smuggling Bibles?
When it comes to smuggling the Bibles, it's like, okay, it made us have to answer that question. What is the world? What state is the world in? What state is our country in? What are the rules in place? So we knew kind of what rules that had to be broken.
Mhm.
And we wanted to make this big deal that it's even hard to get across state lines without being questioned, without being
Mhm.
searched.
Mhm.
Homeland Security is on the hunt for these smugglers in the movie, and they are rounding up every copy of the old Holy Bible, everything that's physical, everything that's digital. And so
Yeah.
it really makes you like, it puts it into terms now. It puts it into your situation, in the here and now. And you have to think about what risks would there be, what dangers would there be. And so we put a lot of thought into that. And I'm really excited for people to see that. I remember I'll say I tell people this all the time. When I read the script for the first time, I was actually in this room on my couch back there, and I was reading it. Um, and I knew the story already because I've been involved from the early days. But when I read it, I was sweating, and I was on the edge of my seat, and I was like, it's one of those stories that doesn't let you relax. And then um, I always tell people this, but it kind of bookends the experience because after the film was done, I got a private screener of the film and I watched it in the exact same spot. And I felt the same emotions. I felt the same stress. Like it is a stressful kind of thriller because you feel the danger moment by moment. So I am excited to make people sweat, is what I'm saying, Nancy.
Yeah, I could see that. This sweating is a big thing here.
It
Well, I really have to ask you how you felt about your part in it and what really was the challenge in that part?
I play his name is JJ, and I play one of the seven Bible smugglers in the movie. And that was, as we kind of just discussed, there's a danger already, right, in playing that kind of part because you're one of the characters that are being kind of hunted. But what was there's a challenge because it made me, not JJ, me Drew, kind of have to answer this question that the film asks everybody. If this was your reality, how would you respond? And so, where I land on that topic, where my character lands on that topic, where everyone lands on that topic is really, really interesting. And so, obviously he and the other smugglers are putting their necks on the line here for the cause. And it's so that was one half of it. But I think for me, the fun challenge was that I got to play the brother of my real life brother in the movie.
Yes.
Which wasn't, in some respects, it wasn't really hard because we have that built-in chemistry already.
Yeah.
But those were some of my favorite days on set. I remember my brother Brett and we would discuss the scenes ahead of time on the phone. We would kind of talk about what we wanted to achieve. Though every scene that we shared together was really important to us, and we
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that we nailed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, but every day was just a fun adventure, honestly. I mean, I got so much joy and I got so much fulfillment out of just being there and working with our talented crew. Seeing them like work was just like amazing experience because they're all such professionals and such artists. And then like getting to talk with all the other cast members and stuff. I just was so encouraged every single day, which was great. A great contrast to then, when they call action and you have to be really, scared
Yes.
all the time. And so it was good. It was a good balance.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this has been like 7 years in the making, I understand. Like,
Yeah.
God just kept holding, your brother back and the film back and I'm sure it was hard because, I know that they are just, I know him and his wife and now that I know you, you just love Christ, you love the Lord. And we are in the church age now where, we could be facing underground churches and that could be happening in this movie, right? So the underground churches work in the future America, and so what do you think of that?
My thoughts go back to when the church first started, and you get this picture of like the apostles and other followers and disciples of Christ, would have churches in their own homes. They would have, in their living rooms um, and to see how the church has grown from there. I mean, obviously my hope is that nothing changes, right? That we can just continue to have the freedoms to worship the Lord and share his and proclaim his name freely, because that is what our country is supposed to stand for, is to have that freedom. But yeah, if that were to change, I mean, I've had a long time to think about this, because of the journey that we've all been on. And, I would do whatever it takes to protect my Bible and to keep sharing his word. I think that's the thing is that people will, one of the comments I've heard from people from the early kind of screenings we've done is that they made them want to go home and read their Bible. And
Mm,
like that is such a that's a good that's a great thing. I
mm,
think it takes it may this film will make people see their Bible as a precious heirloom, as a precious artifact to carry with them and protect, and not just to have sitting on a shelf or in a bag buried under other things or in the car. Like it should be this a tool, and a tool for survival in a way. And so, yeah, I think while the future prospect of that kind of persecution, that those laws being put in place, I think people kind of think ahead like, oh, Christian persecution, that maybe that's kind of far off, or that can't happen. But what we illustrate in this movie is that it's actually we put it in a way that I feel like would be more believable now, where, well, it's not the Bible's totally outlawed. It's that the government has written their own version of the Bible. You just have to buy that one. You just have to go get that one and turn in your old copy. This
mm,
copy is much more inclusive. This
mm.
copy is loving. There's no hate speech in it. And I think people would just jump at that, like, oh, great. It's
Yeah.
just another version of the Bible. And
Yes.
that's the scary thing that you have to be very careful of, is that you have to, if you change one word of the Bible, you're taking the place of God. If
Yes.
you're saying, I'm God. Because you don't think that's what you're saying, but that's what you're saying. And so it's a dangerous game to play. And so the believers just be watchful, just be
Yeah.
mindful of what is happening, and pray for our leaders, pray for the Lord to kind of be in the White
Because,
House.
people do have to know that, like, maybe there's feelings towards one president or another, but whoever God puts that's who God puts in the White House, and we have to pray for them. And you were right in saying that. So, I'm just so excited about this. I'm definitely going to put, like, the link to the trailer to the movie in the notes. But Drew, I really want the audience to know about you. Can you talk about, your walk with Christ, and so they know that, that you are just such on board with the Bible and as a Christ believer?
Absolutely, sure. I grew up, I was lucky. I feel blessed to have grown up in a loving Christian home. My parents really are the reason for who I am today. They demonstrated, what a healthy marriage looks like, that what how to read your Bible, and they would constantly engage in discussions with us about that, and I'm the youngest of three in my family, and so my siblings also really attribute to my upbringing, and but everybody still has to kind of make that decision of faith on their own. You can't just be born into it. You have to decide for yourself. And but I grew up going to a Christian school, and it is the same school that I send my kids to now. And it's where I found my high school sweetheart, who became my wife. I met, we kind of, our love kind of blossomed on the stage in acting, and we're two
Uh,
performers. And but I always wanted to make movies, and that was my heartbeat forever, and still is. And my wife is a musician, and she's really, just music is her passion, so we make a good match. But no, I mean, I came to that decision of faith at a young age, and but over time, over the course of my life, I've seen, I've been met with challenge, I've been met with adversity, and I work as a video producer now. And so a lot of times in this industry, your whole life can be uprooted, or the rug can be pulled out from under your feet, and you could be left without a job, and you could be left with, this big question mark of, where do I go, and is the Lord really looking out for me? And what I have seen is that everything that has come my way has been an open door from the Lord. I feel like everything that I've sought out on my own has never really worked out. It's always been, God putting the right people in my path to for different opportunities. And so Um, I I have found that over the years that that is, you have to put your faith in Christ every single day and just trust that he is going to lead you. And with this, I've been comfortably working as a video producer in the Indianapolis, Indiana market. I've worked as a I've done commercials for local news, for marketing, for the Indianapolis Colts, for a number of other corporations. Um, God has blessed me in that way because I love to tell stories. I what's another fun fact about my brother and I is that we both attended Ball State University to study. And we were both David Letterman scholarship winners. We're both regional Emmy Award winners, which is really
Wow.
neat.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so that's been a really cool blessing. But I think what was also a blessing for us was the fact that we both went to the secular university, and I think both of us grew really stronger in our faith from that experience. And I think, where people go to school is is a decision for everybody, and there's a right answer for it, for anybody. But for us, we that was where we were supposed to go. And but yeah, no. So since then, like I said, I've been working. Um, it's been a while since I've been out of school now, but my wife and I, we live in Brownsburg, Indiana, and we have two beautiful children, and now this movie. And so like this is just another chapter in my life. And it's been a really cool one because I felt in the beginning stages of this movie, I told my brother and I said, you can cast somebody else in my part if you want to. I was
Oh,
like, I was like, you can because I seeing all the other actors in this project, I'm like, man, this is like what they do. Like they are so good. And but he just had a lot of he's like, nope, this is you're the guy. And I attribute that to him as well as Josh, who wrote the film. And they were adamant about me playing this character specifically. And across the project, I was getting to, like I said before, getting to know these wonderful, talented actors who um, every day was like a learning experience as an actor on set, just to see them work, to see them, prepare and just to talk to them and learn about their experiences. They were all so kind, so encouraging. We kind of became a family. But they really pushed me. They said, you can do this. You should pursue this. You should act in movies more. Like so it has been a really encouraging thing. It's something that I hope to see. I'm excited to see what the Lord does with it, right?
yeah.
Like I'll see what other opportunities come and hopefully have a chance again to use my talents for him.
You've had roles in the Genesis Impact, The War Within, and The
Mhm.
Board. You
Yeah.
can and you can find out more about Drew on IMDb, Instagram, Facebook, and Disciples in the Moonlight film. It opens July 17th, and you can get tickets for it in advance. Go to disciplesinthemoonlightmovie.com. And Drew, what would you like to leave my audience with today?
Movie will be in theaters for a week, and it's very exciting. So, but there's a good lead up time to get tickets and buy tickets for you, for your loved ones, for your friends, your family. Take everyone out to go see it. You will not be disappointed, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, and you'll be challenged. And I just can't wait to see what everyone thinks about it.
Thanks for watching. Share your thoughts on our conversation by putting your comments below and visit thecallwithNancySabato.com to learn more about me and what we do here on the ministry. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share. Your support means so much to us.